What's up, everyone? Kevin Allen, aka the Geek, here with Taco. We're talking NASCAR Cup Series, the Darlington Cook Out Southern 500. Breaking this down for DFS purposes. Night race, Taco.
Oh, yeah. Big night race. Gotta get ready for these Saturday races coming up because next week, the big week.
Football. You know what? We're pushing NASCAR. We're pushing NASCAR to Saturdays. Couple days away. NFL season. By the way, Taco, promo code NFL23, 15% off, locks in for life.
Hell yeah. Get in there. It's perfect time.
All of the DFS Army subscriptions right now.
Everyone doing their fantasy football drafts this weekend. Just did mine yesterday. On team Garrett Wilson with you.
I love Garrett Wilson. Here's what I've noticed. A little fantasy football stuff before we get into, because I got my home leagues. I've already drafted.
Let them come in. Yeah, let them trickle in here.
I've drafted. That's right. Let the people come in. I've drafted, tons and tons of best ball leagues and high stakes leagues and all that kind of thing already. Then I get to my home leagues, which draft this week.
And you're just hedging.
Yeah, well, the home leagues are just for money. It's also because I know the people, but they're such easy wins relative to like these other things. It almost seems like cheating. But here's what I noticed. The home league, they go for running back way sooner than they should. But because that happens, you almost have to adjust a little bit. So I'm adjusting my mental state for the next few days, where you can't really just kind of like ignore running back for the first 4 rounds. They're all gone. Where, in your best ball leagues in round 5, you're like, oh, Rachaad White and Sanders and Dobbins and all those great guys, they're still there. In your home league, they're gone. So you have to go a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, so Deion Jackson hero RB, man. We can do it all on the waiver wire.
I have so much Deion Jackson exposure. It's ridiculous. All right. We're talking Darlington, though, and let's talk about what's unique about this track for NASCAR. This is a ride-the-wall track.
Yeah, pretty much. This one's kind of hard to compare. So we haven't been to an oval that has any sort of banking on it that's not a super speedway like Atlanta for 4 months now. We kind of get them all at once. So we didn't have any intermediate tracks to start the season. I think like week 11, 12, that's when we start just going in on them like back to back to back, like Darlington. You got Dover in there. You got Kansas, Charlotte, just all back to back. And then the intermediates just stop. We go do our road courses or short tracks. If I sound like shit, by the way, it's because everyone in my city got sick. We are just now getting over this shit, but we're back at it once again. So
you know what, Taco, you know why I don't get sick?
Yeah.
I don't leave the house. I have a trick for it.
Didn't work for me.
Don't leave the house. You got kids bringing those
little buggers, man. They brought it in.
Yeah. You can't have. You got little germ transporters running around.
We're about to start one of these stretches up again. We got Kansas, the best track in NASCAR, in my opinion, coming up next week.
Who the hell's watching NASCAR? Wait. I thought NASCAR ends when football. I haven't even.
Whoa.
It keeps going during football season?
Okay, if you like college football, then yeah, no chance. But Saturday is still for the boys, not the Cowboys. For the boys, because I love me some Kansas. But
Saturday's for the Players Club and the Blue Moons, and everybody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Saturdays are for. But
so this will be like a big send-off pod here, kind of.
Little send-off
coming up.
A little send-off. But you know what? There is the hardcore crew that will be hammering away at NASCAR for the rest of the season.
And there's a perfect contest they just added for that hardcore crew, the playoff Survivor. Really excited for that. Got me some entries into that.
I forgot. I
love Survivor.
I love Survivor too. I can't play it now. I can't concentrate on it. But I wish
for the NFL boys, but for the NASCAR hardcore guys, we're going to be going in on that. I love me some Survivor.
I wish they did it just like not now. Why I want that all year round.
I know that'd be lit.
I got to talk to my Draftkings people about getting an NFL Survivor going too. That is my favorite style of contest.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So looking at this race though, Taco, the first thing I noticed was some insane place differential guys, like so much of it that I think the whole strategy here really has to be some combination of place diff and Hamlin or something like that. One of the like a Reddick and place diff.
It's so hard because, like, if you set a rule for at least one dominator, there's still the potential for what we've seen last few times here with Darlington. Sometimes this can get, a little fucky. Like the spring race, there are a bunch of big wrecks on the restarts, like big ones. You could have someone lead like the first stage, like Bell, say he leads all of stage one. He wrecks, he's not in the optimal, then that at least one dominator kind of fucks you because all the real good dominators are coming from the back, so you probably just gotta mark them as dominator for a week like this. But yeah, it's
How
like the best of
difficult?
the best guys. Truex is a night race. Truex, hello, had the best car at Michigan by far, the best car here in the spring by far. Larson is the odds-on favorite here. He's starting 18th. He's the third favorite to win stage one, so he's gonna be galloping to start this race.
How difficult is it to move at this track from the way backs up to the front? Like, how many laps do I have to wait?
If you're not in first, you can do it.
What's that?
You can definitely pass on here as long as you're not in second. In first place has that clean air. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Because the pole sitters here, as you can see here clearly, the pole sitters averaging 85.4 lead laps.
Dude, the second
but you see a
place
pretty equal spread of all the guys in the top. The top four starting positions all making the optimal about equal. It's really about just whoever ends up out here on top or up front. There's 367 laps to go around. For an intermediate track, that is a whole lot. That's 100 more than we usually have.
Taco, you know who else is averaging a lot of lead laps?
Mm-hmm.
The second place car.
Yep.
So if we take a look at historical, scoring at this track, number one, the two things I'm noticing, first of all, I'm going to call this a little more leveled out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I'm calling this a little bit more leveled out scoring across the early starters and the late starters. Like, I'm not seeing
if you're fast, you qualify high here. Pretty much is how it goes.
Yeah, but it hasn't been terrible for the back group. They're putting up 28.1, which, I guess the shittiest shitters aren't. I don't know. This is a weird.
Just go by the averages by season average driver rating. It's pretty straightforward here. If you fast, you're gonna be fast.
Yeah, it looks like good cars do well. Yeah, that's simple. It's a simple because you're right. 36 through 40, terrible. So really, just the better cars do well here. And you might say, it's fun. People watching like, that's every race. You guys are stupid. But it's not every race.
Just a bit more so at a race like this. And then we've got some teammates starting up front. So we might see a bit of what we call the okie dokie restart to start this one. I got to have a bunch of Toyotas up there in the front, at least initially. But the important Toyota is going to be coming from the rear here with Martin Truex Jr.
How important is track history at a track like this one? What are we looking at? I mean, I see we have our win odds, and we'll talk about that with each driver. We have a really cool new sportsbook stat out there, which we can talk about in a second. But how important is track history here?
So since there's not really many tracks that are like this one, because the two tracks that are similar to it in size, being just shorter than an intermediate, Nashville and Gateway, those are both flat as a pancake. This has got the high grooves here. It's a unique shape, the egg-shaped track. What we've noticed here historically is very much benefits the veterans. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that over the last few years since COVID, we have not had much practice. And this is a tough line to drive on. And those vets, we kind of see the old guard putting in some work here, like Harvick, fantastic here consistently. Truex, Hamlin, those guys are pretty much always going to be awesome. Larson's a wheelman. He's going to be awesome. And it's harder for some of these newer guys like Ty Gibbs who've had just limited track time or have had to settle for a lot of sim work because we just had the year without any practice laps. We've had, just not a lot of on-track action is where guys like Harvick, Hamlin they used to have like three practices for this race.
Taco, I'm seeing a weird
hour-long session. So
I'm seeing a weird one in the track history and in the salary algorithm.
Eric Jones, yeah.
Yeah, E-Money Bags, Eric Jones.
Yeah.
Won here twice. What? With the bad car? What is going on?
Well, he won here once with a really good car. When he was with JGR, he killed this place. But so the last few races here, as you can probably see from just look up at the finishes of all of the elite cars. We've had some fuck fest in the last 3 races. We want to look at the last 3, most notably because that's, the next gen car. And again, with not very many corollary kind of tracks, you got to really look to like the spring race here. Because we haven't been to an intermediate oval with decent banking in 4 months, pretty much since we went here last time. The only kind of similar track we've been to since was like Charlotte. So yeah, this looking at the spring race is going to be kind of important, but I mean, a lot of that was taken away from us, or we got to adjust some of these numbers because it was a gigantic fuck fest. That's where Larson and Chastain ended up wrecking each other out first and second. Truex also taken out in the lead. So
do I remember
you got to kind of look past the finishes here and look at guys who are actually running really well. Like Stenhouse was amazing here in the spring. He got taken out also.
Where can I see that information?
Where
does it show average running?
Oh, all the way on the right. Average position versus actual finish.
Yeah, that's
so you can see basically who just got taken out is in the dark green, like Barton Truex Jr. He was running first place all race, got taken out.
Darlington.
It was a shame.
Where's it? Average position versus actual finish. I don't understand how to read this chart.
It means so they finished 22 spots worse than where they were running in the race.
Okay. Yeah. So these are people who
we just want to look at the next gen. We don't really want to look at the long-term form, really. It's not one of those tracks. I mean, it's helpful, but we kind of know who the veterans are at this point. We want to know how they're running in this car, but also you gotta look at practice a lot here too, just because we haven't seen the intermediate track type in quite a while. We've been at a lot of road courses, a lot of short tracks, a lot of super speedways. Yeah, there's a concern with Jones, and we'll get to him. I mean, just the team legacies.
It's a lot. 8K for Eric Jones is probably enough of a reason.
Yeah, and it's right at that the odds cliff that we see like pretty much every week now. And there's gonna be a lot of current form we need to fade because this is a completely different track type than anything we've seen in the last few months. So some of the teams, like for example, Buescher has won 3 of the last 4 races. Not looking very good this week, and this has never really been like that great of a spot for him, starting 8th. Like
heard that before.
$8,900, right? But I'm
I've heard
just
that
a completely different kind of track here.
Heard that before, though. You know what I mean?
But I mean, do we really want to like think, okay, he did well at a super speedway, we got to play him at an intermediate track? It's not really how it works.
No. So all right,
we just got to keep that in mind, I guess, because we do. I mean, this is the first game of the playoffs, so everyone underlined here is in the playoffs, and typically we should expect to see lower carnage rates in these playoff races, and a lot of respect being shown to the guys in the playoff races from the guys that are on the outside looking in. And, teams that are split like Hendrick right now, they're not really going to give a shit how Chase Elliott or Alex Bowman run.
Taco,
this didn't make the playoffs.
That feels like a really important. So before I get into this breakdown, because this feels like a really important point to dive into. Give me from your I love watching NASCAR as a fan perspective, right? Once the playoff starts, right, and you got all these underlying drivers that are in the playoffs, right, and then you've got these guys who aren't, right, the non-playoff drivers, and you're talking about respect. And so let me understand 2 things. Number 1, does carnage go down like generally in playoffs? Number 1. And number 2, do we normally see these types of Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, didn't make the playoff guys really driving their asses off and going nuts to try to win these? Or are they kind of like, I'm out of the playoffs anyway, I'm here, but let me give respect to the playoff drivers, and just like, I'm not going to be as aggressive as I normally am. Like, give me some idea of how things change in the playoffs, if that's a real thing, or if I'm just, or no, same shit as always.
I think a lot of it has to do with the team being like, okay, we got 2 cars in the playoffs. I think we're going to care about these guys and we'll give the scraps to Elliott, Bowman. Now, I mean,
But
it's not the
Elliott
best
Bowman
example
themselves,
because they're like a top team, of course, but like Trackhouse, for example, it's kind of obvious that Chastain is going to get a lot more love than Suarez, with him just missing I think he missed on like the final lap last week, lost it to Bubba at Daytona. Sucks to go on Daytona, like sheesh.
yeah. But I'm
Why
saying
is that
like
the cutoff race? I'll never understand.
Historically, I see Chase Elliott priced down. I see the odds
Mhm.
though don't really reflect like, oh yeah, he's just going to be terrible.
He's also just been in shitty form as well.
Yeah.
Like he's not even like popping off at road courses even really.
That accident messed him up mentally.
Yeah, you can see in like the practice times, just very slow. So he'll probably just be doing like some, experimenting, fucking around. I mean, you could still have a guy like Eric Jones before just winning the race. I mean, they're still going to want to win the race, obviously. But especially when you get towards the final two rounds, especially like the championship week, like guys are gonna mind their P's and Q's then. But like a Talladega, they're probably still just going bananas.
Just because it's Talladega and that's a fun one to win. All right, that's good to know. So keeping that note in mind, let's take a quick look here at stage winners. Bet365 has.
We love these odds. We want them every week.
Please, yeah, like they just added a new type of odd stage winner, right? And we've got all these great odds.
Stage one winner is just like the odds of who is going to be the early dominator. So we like this one. We've got Bell starting first, Hamlin starting second. Those two being the favorite makes sense. Larson starting 18th, and he's the third favorite.
Get there.
You got Martin Truex Jr. starting 31st, and he's tied for the fifth favorite. Over Brad Keselowski, who's starting fifth. Now, a little of that is going to be baked in, of course. I mean, because Truex was just the absolute dominant car. In the spring, it doesn't look like he has that insane kind of speed going into this week, but it is like a night race, and he is Martin Truex Jr., the king of the night races. So it's no shock to me that he's priced up on these odds.
Stage two winner, and this is I like observing the change, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Reddick same, Bell plus 400, so down a little bit. Hamlin down just a little bit. Larson again plus 600. Willie Byron in the mix here at plus 700 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
starting 23rd, yeah.
That's impressive. Where was Willie Byron in stage one?
So it's not like Martinsville or something where if they start in the back, they're going to be stuck in traffic for two stages and they just got to deal with it and hope they get lucky in the pits.
Yeah, it feels like what they're telling us is, these guys can move forward. And if they have a really good car, opponents get more aggressive. Pantera says get more aggressive because the playoff drivers have to be careful.
Yep. And sometimes they can bully him. I mean, it really depends on how much of a dick you are. Like I could see Ty Gibbs doing something like that, right? And then when you get to the elimination races, those can get a little bit feisty too, just because guys get desperate to get a win or beat a certain guy out.
Yeah.
So the strategy gets a little weird. The races, they're not. They have like less wrecks, but they're more carnagey in a way. It's kind of weird how it works.
Yeah. It's really, I think that's going to be such an important factor. I'm not sure how to play it, but I think that's going to be a really important.
I would just say treat it kind of as normal now. I mean, note who's in the playoffs and who's not, obviously, but like the difference in racing style really tends to change the closer you get to the championship race. I mean, by the time the championship race happens, that one's always a very nose down sort of race.
Do they allow the non-playoff teams in the championship? Like,
yeah, they just chill there. But you do not want to be the dick that wrecks out a playoff driver in the championship race. Nobody wants that.
Wait, who was the guy who punched somebody in the face a couple of weeks ago? Was it like Chastain fighting with like Gil? Somebody punched somebody else a few weeks ago.
I know last night Kligerman was wanting to punch Sam Mayer, but
no, I'm talking about Cup Series. I don't want these kids, fucking Xfinity knuckleheads. I don't know. There was, I feel like it was like Gilliland or a couple of guys like that got into it. So I'm like, hey, that's a good. if somebody pissed me off, like Larson punched me during the regular season, and I'm Colo.
We could see a Matt Kenseth like situation where they pay retribution at the worst possible time.
Yeah, that's
what
I
see it a lot, but man, I think everyone was kind of feeling that with Hamlin and Chastain last year. They're thinking, okay, this is where it's going to boil over. But no, we just saw Chastain just put his dick on Hamlin's head once again, doing the wall ride in Martinsville.
I love it.
There is like a very important piece of news here because so far the intermediate tracks, like JGR has been awesome. They've been like the best at these, but Christopher Bell has kind of struggled, and a lot of that's had to do with his team being shitty. He is switching teams for the playoffs with Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs' team is arguably the best, probably, if not the best, second best to Byron's crew in all of NASCAR. They won the Pit Crew Challenge, so, I mean, that's got to make them the best, surely. But we've also seen them just give, like, great positions to Ty Gibbs during races. So, I mean, that's going to directly benefit Bell a lot. Plus that first place starting position. Yeah, it gets him that first pit stall. A lot of things to like about Bell, not even just off of the stage one domination, just having those things here can be very important.
That is big, and that's huge. I'm seeing that here now. I'm already starting to formulate a plan here for how to make your lineups look, but just before even getting into the driver breakdowns, this definitely feels to me like with all this place differential, you start looking at where Truex is starting and Byron and Chastain. It's too much place differential to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
But if it seems to me like if you get a Bell dominating, or secondarily a Hamlin dominating for some number of laps, that's kind of the way to approach this one. Or even a thirdarily Reddick. I'd have it those three guys. One of them sort of dominates quite a bit, and then the rest of your scoring can come from some of these play stiff guys. And I think that's that you mix in a couple of salary savers, punt types, and that's how you build your lineup. So I'm kind of seeing it come together, like a Killa Priest alongside one of Hamlin, Reddick, or Bell, and then you want to squeeze in a Larson, a Truex, or Byron, or as much of that trio, or Chastain, or as much of that group as you can.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of feels like how lineups will probably be put together this week. But let's get into it, starting at the top. Most expensive driver, Denny Hamlin, starting second, behind Christopher Bell, Taco. So you mentioned that the pole sitter has a groove advantage.
Yeah. And they're teammates, so
again, does that mean Hamlin
most of the time I think we just see Bell just chill here?
So the expectation here is that teammates, Denny Hamlin not going to stir the boat. He's going to let Bell take his lead, and he'll settle in behind him for the first part of this.
It's not guaranteed. If anything, I think Tyler Reddick could steal the lead from Bell over Hamlin, doing his thing, riding the wall, being aggressive. He's a great restarter. But Hamlin could also do it if Bell just has like a shitty start to the race. It's, I mean, probably like 60 to 70% of the time. Yeah, probably like 70% of the time. It's just going to be Bell, just out there in open space and clean air doing his thing. And yeah, you can see the three Toyotas just, kind of running in lockstep starting this race. It's the beginning of the playoffs. Hamlin, pretty conservative guy, very happy to just chill in a safe spot while everyone else is going crazy.
But Reddick is absolutely known for riding the wall, and he's known for this track type. So yeah, starting third, that's an interesting. Like I said, it's that trio that feels like one of those three. It seems almost locked in that one of those three will. It is locked in pretty much that one of those three is probably going to lead for a while. And most likely Bell, but give a chance to either Hamlin or Reddick and build from there. So
and
then pretty obvious. And then
it's also very expensive. I think it's important to note that with almost 400 laps in this race, FanDuel and Draftkings are going to play very differently this week. And a lot of the pricing is kind of very different too, because like on Draftkings, it's so hard to play Hamlin. He doesn't tend to get the most fast laps compared to all the guys underneath him that should be more expensive than him. So he's going to get depressed ownership. I think just overall. So yeah, I don't really know how that's going to go. I mean, Hamlin, he's going to be. I mean, I think everyone expects him to be like a top 5 guy. He's like co-favorite there with Larson, but at 11,000, it's really hard to get him and then play stiff guys. You have to just like punt super hard. I think when we get to the bottom of this field, punting is going to be a big thing for us this week because people are going to want to do the 4 dominator thing.
There are some punt opportunities, and you're going to tell me why they're not good because I saw some names priced down that look really interesting. We'll get to that point, but I did scan, and I saw some names I really generally like, sub 6K. So I was like, hey, what's up with this guy? But we'll get to those guys.
We'll get to them.
So listen, you got your trio of dominators right here. I don't think we need to sit here and extol the virtues of Truex, Larson, and Byron. Every one of these is spectacular of a play based on the play stiff. But yeah, there's differences here. But like in terms of the play stiff, all of these guys could be great. You have Truex, who you aforementioned. This guy crushes night races. This guy's been good at this track. The odds of him, his win odds and his finish odds look amazing. He's starting 31st. What's not to like here, Taco?
Yeah, what is there not to like? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it's great. Core play. This
just a note about Hamlin, I would say. It's pretty obvious to me that Hamlin is going to go really under-owned in Optimizer 150X contests, and he's probably going to be much more popular in hand-built, so I guess keep that in mind. Maybe if you're controlling exposures for different types of contests, maybe playing some Hamlin and like a mini-max or something would be a good idea, and just fading him elsewhere. I don't know. Just one of those little things. For DraftKings, at least. On Fanduel, he's quite affordable. And it's kind of set up to score better over there. But
very good play on Fanduel.
Yeah. For like Truex, Larson, Byron, I mean, you could just like play all 3 of these guys and say, fuck a dominator, and that might probably work. Honestly.
I think it's the opposite with Truex on Fanduel, where I think you probably just can fade him. The play stiff just isn't as important on Fanduel. He's priced up, jacked up massively above the field.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it matters what price they are if they end up being a good play because as the night goes on, Truex is almost assuredly going to do his thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's 14K. Like he was just priced correctly on FanDuel, so shout out to FanDuel. They got this a lot more correct than DK did, I think, because Hamlin shouldn't be most expensive.
But again, if you're playing both sides and you could do some hedging, all I'm going to say, Taco, is FanDuel does not reward place differential the way that DraftKings does. There is a difference in the scoring system.
That's where you're playing Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, you can. They don't reward the play stiff. So for me, Truex on FanDuel would be the spot where I'm kind of like, all right, I'll play him on draft. Maybe I won't play him as much on FanDuel. That's all I'm saying. Like they don't reward the fact that he got from 31st to first enough to make the difference. But yeah, Truex, you mentioned night race. The guy's the king of the night race.
Yeah, I mean, what's not to love? He's gonna be the chalk. He's gonna be highest owned.
Yeah,
I would imagine starting 31st. Yeah, there's no way it's not Truex highest owned. Larson could be close though because he's. I think everyone agrees he has the fastest car this week. It's very apparent in practice.
I love that he has the fastest car, but Larson, before he became Larson, the complete dominator of all tracks, was specifically known for this type of track.
Yeah.
Riding the wall, having the balls to do it, the whole thing. So
that steady wheel. I know it does better.
He's a good wheelman. He's a good wheelman. So Larson starting 18th. His ownership exactly the same. Fucking ownerships, and these are always true. The ownerships are so easily spread out that you can't get an edge on ownership for these guys because it's just so even. So Larson, great play, and Byron for me is the third best of this trio.
If you're gambling, like if go to the RS real quick and look at Byron's finishes, this track type this year. If you're just looking at that, like Byron's gonna pop off as like a big time play to you. He's the quote unquote defending winner of this race. Was he the best car? Absolutely not. He was hard stuck behind the actual fast cars, Chastain, Truex, Larson. He was gifted a win because they all decided to wreck into each other and just let him float on by. So
Could happen again.
that and just his pit crew being awesome as always. I mean, Byron just does his thing. He's finishing second, third every week, winning some, having some handed to him. Super safe play, honestly. He's like becoming even better, like Harvick or Hamlin, just top 5 machine. With despite not even like being the best car on the track a lot of the time, it's just really good at finishing these races. Larson, Truex, they have more upside, especially Larson. Larson has like 150 laps led upside over these guys for sure. But in cash games, Byron, big time smash there, I think. It's probably like you're probably going Byron, Truex, or just taking all 3 of these guys in cash. Cash is tricky, and I have to kind of make multiple cash lineups this week because you're doing the survivor pools when you've got like 10 entries. I don't want to be out week 1, right?
Yeah.
So we got to hedge it up a little bit. You got to play a little differently.
I feel so jealous. I want to be in the survivor.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
And then there's Chastain also that will come into play here soon. Kind of a similar spot to Truex, really, just for cheaper. And he's led laps here in each of the last 5 races at Darlington.
Chastain, he's not even lower, like significantly lower owned than the rest of the group. Rightfully so, I would say. Starting 27th, but Chastain hasn't been that good lately.
Yep, see, there it is. He hasn't been good lately. Have we been at an intermediate track lately? No. Absolutely not. We went to a track similar in size to this one in Nashville, and he dominated and led the entire thing. Since then, we've only gone to Michigan, and that's not a really great comp for this either. It's like that's the thing. Like we have in our minds right now. Okay, Chastain shit, McDowell good, Buescher good, but I just don't think that's really true at this point. You got to kind of clear the slate when we haven't been to this track type in over 4 months.
Before I don't want to jump quite to Chastain yet. So Busch and Harvick, these are your 2 sort of nondescript, generally going to skip right over them guys.
Right? So I like Kyle Busch for GPP because I think he's actually I think he has a little upside here, right? And he's just going to go underlooked. But yeah, he was really good at this track, like with Toyota, but with RCR. We haven't seen him do anything intermediate track so far this season, but Harvick's the more of like the take a stand and fade him guy because he has amazing track history here. Look at his track history real quick.
He killed it. He's actually
it's the literally best always top 6.
The best track history of anybody. It's better than even Larson and the other guys. His is the best.
Yeah, but I just don't think he's ever cracking top 3 in this race. Stewart-Haas just doesn't have the speed. And, if there are guys with insane place differential and dominator upside surrounding him, and he's priced up this week on DraftKings at least, way more affordable and scores way better on Fanduel. So Harvick's like the ultimate play him over on Fanduel guy. On DraftKings, I just don't see how he even gets to the optimal. He's not really getting fast laps here. He would have to luck into like lead laps through some sort of pit shenanigans or something. I don't know. I don't see him getting there legitimately. Yeah, he's just priced up.
Much money.
He's gonna start 7th, finish 7th, finish 6th, and just not win anything for you really.
15 to 1 win odds. 15 to 1 win odds. The win odds aren't good enough here. You could pay down for multiple. You can go all the way down to Keselowski to get better win odds. You go all the way down to Blaney to get, and you're saving 1,000. So it's on paper, it doesn't look good.
Yep.
Too expensive because DraftKings priced up maybe some recent track history or some recent results from Harvick, I think.
No, this is track history.
We talk
right here for sure.
Yeah, but why? Again.
Oh well, yeah. It goes back to this track does reward the veterans who are good at saving their equipment. And I'll definitely admit, yeah, Harvick is great at that. He's just not great at leading laps, especially intermediate tracks. Stewart-Haas does not lead laps. And with 367 laps, we got to devour those. Like we need those. We don't need fifth place laps. That's not really doing us much good at $9,800.
Most of because of the number of laps where you're thinking most of who is in your winning lineup is going to be
the fastest car on the track.
Yeah, dominator points rather than, hey, finishing position less critical, because if I pay up for Harvick $10K, yeah, he could finish fourth and put up a 45, but if he didn't lead laps and I spent $10K on him, these guys who led laps might be getting 60s and 70s or 80s or 90s.
And it gets different on Fanduel because you've got all those, you only get the 0.1 per lead lap. You also get the 0.1 for each lap you finish. So everyone's scoring very similarly, and just finishing positions so skewed on there. So just grabbing the top 5, whoever it may be, will probably just work out.
Yeah, makes sense. We already talked about Chastain a little bit, starting 27th. Chastain sucks me in when he's starting from the back and then he crashes. Like when Chastain does better because he's so. Listen, I'm not saying that's going to happen.
He's aggressive, man. He's the GPP play, but he's starting in a cash game spot, and it's it's kind of tricky. I would probably. He's really in consideration for some cash game play. Like I'll have him in some of my survivors. It's going to be hard to get around him because we got to look to. I mean, we got to look to the spring version of this race first and foremost over any other recent race, because there's just been nothing like this. And led 93 laps. He was up in the top 3 most of the race. Like he was fantastic at that spring race. But yeah, just got into it at the end with Larson there, and I mean that's to be expected a lot of the time.
But he does that
with Chastain, right? But I mean, he's got to factor in here. He didn't show anything in practice, but I wouldn't be too worried about guys that have terrible practices on this track just because some guys got like stuck in traffic. It's one of those weird ones. Yeah, we can see what Brady thinks about it too as well.
Yeah, I jumped over here. Place diff, Trackhouse terrible as of late. Think Ross will find some good long run speed here. Yeah, he likes Chastain.
Yeah. And that's something we really want to look at in the practice laps. We want to look at whose lap times are falling off the slowest, because long run speed here is key. Being able to keep your tires good, because the younger guys they just tend to use up their tires just racing too hard off the restart. That's what you're going to get from a guy like Reddick. That's why he can't really finish these races very well. But he'll hop out and steal the lead early on, but just not be able to turn that into a whole lot.
Always like to give Brady's, give those takes at least an eyeball here. Mm-hmm. So Brady, basically similar to you on Chastain, likes the upside, but
we're kind of in lockstep this week because it's kind of obvious who the fast cars are. It's not really going to deviate a whole lot.
I'm excited for Christopher Bell. I love the information about the Ty Gibbs crew. The first pit, you move ahead every time the pit stops happen. You get a little bonus. He's running 8th. All of a sudden, you're like, hey, he's first again. I like it. If he's on your lineup, now he's out front again. Now he's doing his thing. So, pole sitter, teammates all around him. Core play. Can I play Christopher Bell in cash? He leads a bunch of laps.
Yeah, that's what I was going through too. I have him in my main cash lineup right now because I think he's just got a terrific route to just staying up front all the time. Because again, that new pit crew plus the first pit stall is going to keep him in good track position. And I mean, obviously, if he wrecks out, yeah, you're fucked. But you don't really see as many wrecks here from the front. I say that knowing damn well that's exactly what happened last race, but that's the exception and not the rule. Usually the front is the safest place to be. But yeah, I guess it depends on where guys like Chastain are. But I mean, most of the time, yeah, Bell's going to have a big floor just from that first stage of leading laps and being out there in the clean air, and then just probably being able to stay up in the top 5 most of this race. He showed good long run speed. Didn't fall off very much. cheap on DraftKings, more expensive on Fanduel. So just kind of the inverse of like the Kevin Harvick play. I think on Prize Picks, they have his prop for like 30 something fast laps. I thought that was a lot. I'll probably go under on it, but still like an encouraging sign.
I'm not going under on that. You need a 50-50. I don't know. If he's out front, there's so many laps available.
Mm-hmm.
If he, we got to find. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with that at all.
Oh, yeah.
One way or the other on Prize Picks. You need like some serious. This guy could lead for a while if he's out front for the first stage.
It's basically what we saw yesterday with Jonathan Nemechek off the poles. He's gonna win every restart because the outside is so strong at this track. Like, and especially with the teammate there, it's just hard to not see him just doing his thing. And I think it's going to be a good green flag. Like stage one, usually pretty green flag, I would imagine, especially in Cup Series. So he has that floor of him just like racking all those laps up on stage one. And yeah, he'll probably just stay in the top like 7 all race.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't do that on Prize Picks just because, or that's like a 50-50 proposition. You got to be really leaning towards that. He's not going to lead for long periods of time, which I don't think we can predict here. Tyler Reddick.
Then we start to get into our fun GPP plays.
Yeah, these are your tournament guys, right? So Reddick starting third, decent win odds 11-1, likes to run the wall, likes to crash in the wall.
No, he likes to ride into the wall.
Yeah,
Larson does it sometimes. Reddick does it most of the time. But like we've seen like in Xfinity, he's absolutely murdered guys at tracks like these because he's just so much better at wall riding than everyone else. But we've got some really talented wall riders in Cup as well. Hamlin, very underrated skill of his. Obviously Larson. So it's not going to be. It's not as pronounced as it would be like in those lower series, but still, he's going to put himself up there. He's going to have a shot. Probably, like I said, probably a better shot than Hamlin at stealing the lead off the rip. He's in that preferred groove. Like, I like taking some pop shots in just GPP, the single entry 3 maxes, just going Reddick over Bell, who I imagine gets a little bit chalky, just a direct pivot off of him. But you could probably also even play them together because co-dominators starting in the top 3 does tend to happen here a bit. There's plenty of laps to go around, so you don't have to just play one of the guys starting up front. You can play multiple for sure.
Speaking of guys starting up front, like I don't think these are going to be popular plays, which of course make them interesting for tournaments, I suppose. But
do we just say this about Logano every single week? So I feel like we do.
It is the same thing, and Logano just does wind up in nuts lineups more than he should. But
especially in the playoffs,
he's just always in the nuts somehow. He just sneaks his way. But I think he's going to have a hard time doing that from the 6 hole without leading massive amounts of laps. Nothing stands out about Logano that says, how do you look in practice? Like, nothing stands out that says this guy is going to lead a bunch of laps.
Yeah, so he looked terrible in practice, actually.
19-1 win odds does not tell me he was looking great.
No, he was looking like dog shit in practice. So everyone's going to fade him. He's just a raw pivot. I could see him getting quite low owned. But we just say this about him every single week, and it remains true. Just he's going to pull some bullshit out of his ass occasionally, be in the nuts and be like, Logano, fucking really? Like,
how did he get there? Yeah, Carnage. These are... So I'm going to call these all 4 of these really, but mainly these 3. These are kind of like Carnage plays. Like they just hung around. You like Keselowski probably a little bit better. I need to understand the Keselowski love, but this feel like Carnage plays to me. Shit gets weird. Bell crashes into Logano. Chastain comes and causes it, and people get tied up with one another. Like shit gets weird, and all of a sudden, the race has gone off the rails. And Logano's in first, and Keselowski's in second, and all the guys you played. We saw that a couple weeks ago, where basically all the play stiff guys that look like the chalk, they all crashed out. Was it last week? I just remember that recent, and then just it got really weird at the end of the race. This is the it gets weird crew for me. I'm just like, you know what? If I'm playing Logano, if Busch or Keselowski are there at the end, to me, something went weird. With that being said, You got to fade out on Logano. You got to fade out on Buescher. Keselowski, though, 4 stars, starting 5th. What is the like here?
For FanDuel, yes.
It's a FanDuel spot. Okay, more of a FanDuel spot. Makes sense.
But I do like him. So for a while, like Penske was the best Ford team. Then like 2018, 2019 comes up. Stewart Haas, the best Ford team. Back to Penske being the best Ford team. Well, right now, RFK is the best Ford team. And I don't even think it's necessarily close. Buescher does not rate out well here at all. Does not look fast, but Keselowski so far this week has looked fast. Looks like he has long run speed. His odds are jacked up. He's good at this track, like historically. He's one of the most experienced, tenured vets in the field. He knows damn well to get around this track. Solid GPP play. I could even see him like leading laps. He's good at riding the wall. Kind of does it all here, which is nice because we've been kind of anti-Keselowski recently at these road courses. Not his thing. Tracks like these, they're his thing.
His win odds are decent. 13-1, not bad. Was he fast in practice?
Yeah, he had good long run speed too.
Okay. Like there it is. Freaking
much better than Buescher.
Roush is a real team.
Yep.
Blaney
very fast in practice. Specifically long run. The last track that we went to is this track type Charlotte. He won that race. He's actually been creeping up pretty significantly in the intermediate track finishes. Like even his 16th at Kansas, like he ran way better there than where he finished. He's been the best Penske by a long shot at these intermediate tracks. But we haven't been to this track type in a minute. But no, he's showing speed once again this week. He was fastest in 30 lap average of anyone in the field. Top 3 in 10, 15, 20 lap average.
Oh boy.
Yup. You got the Kenny G seal of approval.
Really?
It's over now.
Oh.
You done did it.
Well, there it is. There's the
and he's really cheap. Like I love him on FanDuel. $7,800. That's like value play. And he's a guy starting in the top 5 with speed.
With decent win odds. Yeah. What is FanDuel thinking about here?
Is like a core play on FanDuel. You can get away with not playing him on DraftKings. You're probably fine there, but on FanDuel, man, Blaney is such a good play.
A couple weeks ago, I just literally threw a run. Every time I've done this on FanDuel, it kind of happens. I just threw a random. I didn't have time to fuck around with FanDuel, so I just threw 150 off the optimizer with a 50% max in whatever contest it was. And I'm like, I finished 4th, 7th, 11th. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't do anything. I do so much work normally to set up my optimals, but I was just testing FanDuel, just like, I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember my reasoning, but I was just like, I think I missed the contest on DraftKings. So I was like, all right, let me throw something on FanDuel just to have something to follow.
That was me with the preseason NFL on the DS. Shout out, y'all.
God. The Dom station was spitting so much fire. Just wait till you see what it's spitting for NFL.
Oh, yeah.
The
Marvin
level up
all in, baby. Let's go.
The level up on the projection model that we did this year. I worked with John Statsational on it. It is going to be. I'm telling you this, Taco, and everybody who's listening, my NASCAR peeps. We have what I believe is the most accurate NFL projection model ever conceived. And it is going to be really special. We got to dial it in first week or two. So I'm not going to allow for, don't blame too much. It takes a minute because we're very odds based, but it's going to be it's going to be something special. I think we're going to be destroying cash games amongst other things all season long. So stay tuned for that.
Yay.
All right. Bubba, ain't no burger. Wait.
I mean, Chase.
Can we just skip him?
He's mad slow in practice.
Slow.
Not in the playoffs.
I'm out.
Just in bad form overall.
I'm fully out.
Third here in the spring, but fuck that because he's really like 12th. It's just everyone ahead of him wrecked in a giant wreck. It's like a lot of these finishes from the spring or Darlington race are so Mickey Mouse. You just gotta remember the context with them.
I'm telling you right now, fade and chase for better or for worse. He will not be in any lineups that I'm producing. I don't know that I'm going to do 150. I might
Especially Fanduel. Like,
no, I'm out on him. So I'm more interested here though in Bubba.
Big time interest in Bubba.
Why do we love Bubba so much when he's 36-1? These are not,
because he's been top 5 every single intermediate track race this year.
But he's 36-1, Taka. This is not good win odds.
He's not winning. He's gonna.
Is this like
he's gonna fuck around the top 5. It's just 23x highest speed. JDR speed, 23x highest speed.
Plus 5,000 for stage 1.
Mm-hmm.
Stage 2, Bubba Wallace, plus 33. These are not good win odds.
He's starting back from 1,900, but he's $8,200. He's right at the point where you don't really need to win. He's also fast in practice as well, posting top 5 lap times in all the splits. It's just he's fast. He's mid-range. Like you need to kind of find these values. He's like the cheapest you can go if you're doing the 4 Dom strat, because he's like probably the lowest person before that odds cliff falls off that you could see dominating. There is a chance he dominates. He was really good here in the spring.
I'm just
running
like,
up in the top 5.
I'm telling you right now, I'm a little freaked out about the ownership. I feel it's too high. I feel like there is an approach.
Optimizers will be spitting him too.
Even better. And you and Brady love him. I am not going to go against something like that at all. I'm just saying, like, my natural instinct is telling me that I want to play these more expensive guys and I want to find some cheapies rather than maybe this mid zone here. So we'll see. I haven't made the lineups yet. I'm just saying, like,
the rooting interest with Bubba Wallace, the Southern 500 historically. You know what the decoration for this race is? Historically, going way back.
Don't tell me.
It's the Confederate flag.
Stop it.
All right.
What the fuck is wrong with Southerners? What's wrong with you guys? Enough. Oh my God.
It's been a while.
It's so not acceptable. Oh man, but you know what? If it's the 70s, it's fine. Listen, we all love the Dukes of Hazzard. Let's not kid ourselves. I had no idea what I was watching when I was 9. Was it troublesome? I didn't know.
I thought it was badass.
I thought it was awesome.
But yeah, I mean, it's just no one else in this range is that great. Elliott, obviously, we're 9 on. Eric Jones, too expensive. Legacy, too sus. Daniel Suarez, not in the playoffs. Not fast.
No.
Would be playing Chastain instead.
No. A
lot of no's in this entire range. Like Bowman, maybe. He's cheap. He's starting in a decent spot, 24th. Pretty much always a top 15 car.
These guys, for all the no's that we're spitting out here, is it mostly just because they're not in the playoffs? I mean, Michael McDowell at 9th, of course, we're going to fade that, right?
Look, when the girl at the bar is a 6, is surrounded by fat girls, she kind of turns into a 7, you know?
Yeah.
That's Alex Bowman in that range.
Yeah. Beer goggles.
Because McDowell, this is a sell high if I've ever seen one. Jesus.
No, I mean, it's not
all
like
the hype on McDowell is starting 9th at a track that he is not very good at.
It's the
he
starting.
Only had short run speed. Nah, bro. That's an easy fade for me.
I think the minute they took away Ty Gibbs's crew, that was time to start fading the shit out of Ty Gibbs. Like, hey, go out there and do your best.
JGR is still fast. That's the one thing that keeps me interested in a little Ty Gibbs, you know.
No, you've said that every single week all season, and you know what Ty Gibbs never does?
No, what I've said about Ty Gibbs every week all season is I'm just waiting and seeing. He's kind of mad cheap. He's in an all right spot. But, yeah, I don't know if he wins tournaments.
Bowman gets a 4.5 from you know, I guess it's because the price at 7,600.
That's what I'm saying, Brady.
He just doesn't need to do that much.
Bowman just chilling, sneaking up in the top 12. That probably does it 7-6. The question is, though, are you even rostering these guys? I feel like a lot of people are just going to grab 2 5K guys and just jam studs.
We have to try to find these 5K guys, Taco. It's not that easy. So we got to find these guys. So that's where we're at now, right?
And our ugly ass heads are
First,
covering it, but we're getting there.
Wait, first we've got our
our
7 chick amongst the fatties.
No, this is our 9.
No, Stenhouse is a 7.5. 7.5 is solid, dude. 7.5 is like, I'm excited about this one.
7 is solid, right?
Yeah, 7 is great. What do you? Come on, a 9 is.
We don't have those around here, but
no. In Indiana, if you're in Indiana, the whole state produces maybe 2 or 3 7s.
We produce
a year.
Linemen. Doesn't matter what gen you are.
Yeah, you're not getting. That's not where you want.
That's neither here nor there. We also produce great racers, but the important thing is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has what I love, hidden speed, because he was amazing in the spring race. He was bad fast. He was a top 10, top 5 car in the spring race, was taken out, no fault of his own. He has not been wrecky at intermediate tracks this season. He's been quite good. Top 15 the last 4 races, intermediate tracks.
Hold on.
At Charlotte most recently.
The most important question
was in practice.
No,
in the playoffs. The
most important question right now, Darius. Right now, up until Thursday, this thing ends on Wednesday night. Code NFL23. Any one of our subs, it's 15%. It locks in for life. You got to do it now, because that will end.
You're gonna procrastinate. You're gonna end up having to use code Taco.
Taco only gets you 10%.
See,
and it gets
procrastinate.
If you're a procrastinator like Taco, you're gonna suffer. Just a smidge. All right, so back to it. Stenhouse super fast.
And fast this week.
Fast this week. Core play. 5. So I love it. Can I go all in? Somebody mentioned Recce, and I wanted to. He has not been very Recce, Steve Lynn. This guy has been.
He's been solid.
Different so far this season. I don't know.
He fought his way back to a 13th after getting taken out. Like, that 13th was after he got wrecked. Granted, a lot of people wrecked in front of him as well, but what matters was he was a 7th place car. It was very good. And then just fast in practice.
I love this spot. I love the salary.
He's the cheapest playoff driver also. So, just being a playoff driver at 7K is really nice. Having place differential on top of that, thumbs up.
You put core GPP. This guy is going to be in my cash lineup, I think.
He's going to move from 25th to 15th, immediately. The question is, does he finish the race there? Hopefully. But he will make that movement. And you got to attack that.
I think we got a couple of really good cheapies here to allow us to do that heavy dominator approach. A lot of
people are probably. He'll still be. I think he'll be pretty popular as the cheapest play that's not, or that's in the playoffs. But I think his ownership's actually gonna be lower than what I had him projected. Because I think a lot of people are going to just double punt. We'll see how it actually goes, but the double punting Stenhouse, love it.
The double punt does look good. The Stenhouse version probably has to include an 8K-er.
That's when you're throwing Bubba in there.
Yeah, Blaney, Bubba or Keselowski or Blaney, something weird. You're getting a little weird.
Or just not playing Hamlin.
How about the double tap Bowman Stenhouse? Cheapy. 3 studs.
If you're doing a mid-range lineup, you're going to be way less contested when it comes to dupes than the stack. I don't know if you'll be unique with a stack this week.
I'm thinking the double tap. Bowman, Ricky, 1-2. Double tap it. You got to put a cheapie in there.
We see 20 to 25 cars finish on the lead lap, so they don't have to worry about being lap traffic or anything. They're fast enough for sure.
Yeah.
Bunch of shitty cars to get out of the way here. Just a mad stretch of shitty cars.
The turd zone, as I'm going to refer to this zone here. You got one. No, get out of there, Killer Priest. You're not in that group. He's not in that group.
Well, we'll get to him.
No. I need to understand about Priest, but we're getting to him. I'm not throwing him in with the turd zone. So you got Dylan, Almirola, Briscoe. First of all, Almirola, Briscoe, Dinger, and Cola all starting a little too high.
Yep. Now Dinger actually has been running in the top 15 intermediates this year, but he's priced up on Fanduel. Where are you going to play him? 16th to 13th doesn't get you much on DraftKings. So
nondescript on
that's a fade. It's a meh fade, but Almirola and Briscoe are aggressive fades, especially Briscoe. I'm 360 windmill dunking him in the trash can when I'm unfriending him on the DS because he's been dog shit in intermediates. And I feel like every intermediate track I go to, I just enunciate it harder. But I need to start screaming. He's been dog shit. Dog shit.
Hold on.
And he's still dog shit. He's super fast.
I have some
super slow.
I have some new edits being produced for our video content.
Let's go.
But for now, they're not here yet. Look forward to that during NFL. You will love it, Taco. I can't wait for you to see. I'm not even going to spoil alert it by telling you, but I will ask the old school machine, the old school prediction machine about Briscoe in this race. And let's see what the AI generated super brain has to say about him.
Hell no. No, yeah.
You have your answer.
True.
I got some new ones being worked.
More.
I got some new ones. You're gonna love them. I almost had you in mind when I was coming up with some of them. I was like, Taco's gonna laugh his ass off at this. I got to do this.
Yeah, let me cook something out.
Yeah. I'll have a few of those. So we'll see. Just wait for those NFL podcasts. They're gonna be,
so the Joy's 500 to 1.
They're gonna be fun. All right, let's get it. I got to move our heads out of the way.
Yeah.
To get to this last crew. So the one name that I didn't quite throw in with the rest of the zeros, Austin Dillon starting 28th. He's going to be owned a little bit.
We've had some carnage races at Darlington recently. He could be fine.
I feel like the other guys, these guys will do better in the carnage anyway, and they're cheaper.
Yeah, true.
So I bought.
So I mean, there's not a whole lot of reason to take Dillon. I mean, he could always get a top 15 just kind of randomly, finding some speed, but RCR has just not been at an intermediate track, so I'm not too worried about using Austin Dillon here. But again, he's surrounded by zeros, so that 28th looks a little. And then you got to ask yourself the age-old question, okay? How much Stenhouse do you take starting 25th compared to Dillon starting 28th before the proportions get ridiculous? Like, if you have 50% Stenhouse but 5% Dillon, is Stenhouse really 10 times more likely to outscore Dillon?
Especially considering
you got to start asking yourselves those questions.
They have the exact same win odds. This is the part that's fucking with my head.
Yeah, but that's just. I think some of that is still baked in with Austin Dillon because he has won at intermediate tracks before, and Stenhouse notoriously only wins at like super speedways. So when you're looking at just plain win odds, you got to think about that.
That's fair. Cindric has decent win odds for the price, and if
Stenhouse has much better top 5 odds, like twice as good.
Well, that's the key number. I was talking Cindric though. Cindric has decent win odds.
Cindric, his odds have jumped up like crazy because he is stupid fast in practice.
Are we playing Cindric this week?
I don't know.
I mean,
maybe. Yeah,
51. He has. Look at the difference here in his win odds.
A 15th place car in the 3 times he's gone here. In more like a 16th to 18th place car typically, but. He's just bad fast. Whatever. Blaney gave him the hookup, man. They got that setup going. So I don't know what it is, but yeah, he's just bad fast in practice. I think everything is kind of going off of that. Now, I mean, if you hop on the RS and look at his finishes at intermediate tracks, they have been horrendous outside of surviving a carnagey Las Vegas race. There's not really much reason outside of the practice times and the odds to go for Cindric here, but
he did tear up practice though. Like this is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, he fucked it up.
This guy destroyed practice. First.
I'm used to seeing more of just like hot laps out of him. Now, are the chances of him like being optimal from 14th still? I'm extremely sus of. I'm not too worried about playing a ton of Cindric, but he's not like an insta-fade like a 14th place starting Cindric usually would be just because of that.
I'm curious.
I might even defer to Brady on this one. I was going to ask the same thing.
Yeah, let's look at Brady. Here we go. Brady is a practice man.
Yep.
And he's got the 4-star play out on Cindric. Great speed in practice. Starts high, but if you can just keep it clean, shot at the optimal. So, ooh, look at this, too. An interesting twist.
Yep.
Oh.
But
oh.
here's the thing. Optimal on FanDuel, where's $4,500. That's all I'm saying. If you're playing both sides, way better play on FanDuel. That is an awesome FanDuel punt. That is
really, really good punt on
you
FanDuel.
Play him and Blaney, you can afford anything you want. That's solid.
I'm going to run another 150 on FanDuel this week.
Yippee, Kaye. And perfect week, too. A good send-off for NASCAR before NFL goes crazy.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
Cindric gets the 4-star treatment from Brady, and I'm cheat coding ahead to Harry Burton. He's got a 4.5 on him, so that's interesting. So we're in the punt zone. I want to quickly address what the deal is with Killer Priest, because this guy's starting 34th. He's been good most of this year. So you're saying he took a big wreck last week at Daytona, and therefore he's knocked up, he's banged around, and that means he's not going to drive as well. Is that the take here? Because
the question is, did you see it?
I did not see it. No, I'm in football mode. I can't watch these races at this point. I'm in NFL research mode.
That's very understandable. You know what?
So he had a horrible.
Right click on that and hit open link. Just pull it up on there.
Let's see if I can.
You can show a clip like this to people.
Let me see if I can put this on screen. Wait, this isn't even what is this? What did you just give me?
Right click, copy link, and paste in a tab. All right. You got to see it. This is, and then you have to look up the bruises afterwards.
Hold on. Dude, this shit don't work. Come on. I don't know technology, Taco. You can't do that to me.
What?
But
a hyperlink?
I don't know what it is. I don't. Where's the link? I'm downloading it. Hold on, I'm watching it. Oh my god. Oh boy. Sorry guys, if you could see this. I don't know.
We don't have the express written consent of NASCAR, but I'm sure you all have seen it if you're listening to this.
All right, it was a horrible crash.
And then the bruises afterwards.
It was a horrible crash.
He's fucked up.
I will give you that.
But he's starting 34th. I'm gonna still play him, but he would be like a 5-star if he wasn't fucked up. He's pretty fucked up.
So your take is he got banged around. Let me see what Brady had to say about that situation.
Same shit.
He says, risky play. Priest is banged up after the wreck. I'd normally be bullish, but I don't like it this way. So both Taco and Brady, you guys both kind of agree that this would be a great spot, except coming off the wreck last week could be something that messes with his head.
That was like the worst wreck, like the worst flip I've seen in like 4 or 5 years. I can't. Yeah. Since like Austin Dillon, I don't know. Like that one was brutal. That was like a Ryan Newman like average crash right there. There you go. You can see the bruises there. I just sent them to you. This man's looking like a crypt keeper.
My man wants the best pitcher. We put out a video for top MLB pitchers every day right here in the DFS Army channel.
There you go.
Hit that DFS Army button on your YouTube and open up that video, and you will get your MLB pitching breakdown every single day, including today. Subscribe, notification bell, smash the like, all of those things, guys. I love that new people are finding us now because it's great. So, Killer Priest, banged up, but other than that, would be a spectacular play on this card. So you're going to have to figure that one out. Now, the next two. So you got Carson Hocevar. Hell no, I'll sing it. Ryan Newman. Fuck no.
He's good, but he's starting 15th now. And then Newman.
No.
Carnage.
No. No Newman. No.
Actually, there was carnage at this race in the spring, and he finished like 28th. So, yeah.
I'm curious about this odds drop, but before we get to that, let's talk about the two best place diff/punts. The two guys. So, if you want to go, if you
that ownership is going to be like 30% on these guys, I'm pretty quickly realizing.
Probably going, especially Harry Burton after I showed the Brady core play.
Yeah, Crank
That's
that
just
one
fucked
for
up.
sure.
I never should have shown that on the public stream.
Right.
But so Haley and Burton are your cash punts. These guys allow you to own 4 of this. So it's 2 cheapies, 4 studs, or you have the 3 sort of mid, 2 mid, 1 cheap, 3 stud approach. Like, it's 2 ways to build this week, and I think a lot of these lineups are going to look one way or the other. Haley's done his best work at Inter. So give me the argument for Haley. Harry Burton. It seems like Brady is much higher on Burton.
Here's the argument for Haley. Did you know in the next gen car in NASCAR, Justin Haley has finished top 10 here 2 times?
I did not know.
His recent finishes, intermediate tracks, 15th, 8th, 18th, 23rd, 8th. Not bad. Solid in practice, 19th on the board. Yeah, I don't know. Just a pretty damn good play. Why is he so cheap? 5,500. He's so cheap, starting 29th.
Allows you to do whatever you want. You get 2 of these guys, you could do it. I'm going to show a lineup in a minute. How you can do whatever you want when you put these 2 guys in.
And then, yeah, Harrison Burton also is even a little bit faster in practice. Starts a little bit farther back. Hasn't quite had as much recent success. Like, he also had like a really good finish at Darlington, thanks to, of course, the wrecks and all. But when Haley was finishing 3rd and the 2022 race, he was finishing 14th. Like, he's kind of there with them, and that's all we really need out of these guys. Like, I don't think it matters if they finish 14th or if they finish 5th. They're still going to be optimal, just because everyone around them in this range, it's really hard to see them competing. You would think Gilliland, but Gilliland's 900 to 1 currently.
This is what I was trying to figure out. What the hell happened with Gilliland?
The only good finish he's had all year at an intermediate track was Darlington, where everyone wrecked. He finished 11th.
But Gilliland has been good in other track types. Like, he has been somebody who's on my radar.
Not this track type.
He's just bad here.
Front row, not really. Not bringing their F game to the intermediate tracks this year. Kind of low key. Maybe we should harass them like we have for Stuart Haas in the past here. Front row, looking like last row at these intermediate tracks. So next few weeks we may not be very big on my sweet darling McDowell, who I was just singing the praises of after the Indy race. But hey.
Or they flip it. McDowell does amazing here. We're like, all right, they actually pulled it off. I remember Busher was supposed to be terrible at road courses, and all of a sudden he became good.
No, he's always awesome at road courses.
He
was thinking of Michigan, maybe.
Yeah, he transformed at some point.
Michigan was a fuck fest. Yeah. But hey, it could always happen. I mean, this race could also be a fuck fest, and we gotta kind of talk about that. Like, you gotta make some lineups where you just have it set up to be a fuck fest.
I'm gonna point out
you got your play stiff guys from the back. Like,
I'm gonna point out a differentiator between you and Brady here.
Mm-hmm.
Brady does not really think anything special at all about Justin.
He's a player hater. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would love to hear. I'd love to hear his case against Haley, but he's not here right now, so I win by default.
Yeah, and plus you have nailed more of these. We've looked at a bunch of these this season, and I do want to give you props.
No,
you've nailed more of these.
We disagreed on Allgaier yesterday, and I was very, very wrong. So yeah. I'm gonna back away a little bit.
There we go.
Because Brady cooked yesterday for sure.
There it is. It's not. That's why I love having the 2.
I'd rather win in Cup though.
3 really elite coaches in our NASCAR team spitting out these plays, and I just get to listen to you guys and print cash at these races, which is always fun.
Then week 1 of NFL's next week, we trade spots.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to switch it up. So Brady a little higher on Harry Burton compared to Haley, quite a lot higher. Fine by me. Harrison Burton is super
Haley,
cheap,
but
and you're a little higher on Haley. So we'll see at the end of the race.
Nah, someone's just going to like barrel into one of these guys, and it's going to be inconclusive. You know the drill.
That's right. And Jason, what we'll do at the end here is I'll throw together
we'll be prepared for it, because we'll have our secondary run of when shit hits the fan, which I do recommend if you're max entering some shit.
Yeah, your Carnage run in the optimizer.
Very important for this race. I think the last 3 have been pretty carnagey.
Save 30 lineups. If the Carnage hits, which it feels like it could, then really all bets are off. And so we're talking about
Well,
a lot.
honestly, we're playing so much play stiff anyway. Is it going to be that different besides maybe playing some Yaley, playing some McLeod?
Yeah.
That's the only difference, really, is that if there's carnage, like we saw Yaley come like top 20, like recently at Charlotte. He came 16th.
I would play Bell over Chastain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like Bell more than Chastain on this one. All right. So, Taco, let's get it. I don't know why I usually follow Kenny G's advice, like like some sort of man from the future who comes back with predictions that always come true.
Are you going to follow his advice to lock in 25% JJ Yaley?
No.
Yeah.
I'm
he's down to 15%. Oh, we can troll them.
I'm out on that. I'm not on the Yelly 15%, Kenny G.
Not even the Yaley Haley power duo.
No. I like the rhyming. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy the rhyme, but no, I'm out on that. I'm not playing Yelly here. These guys are not for intermediate tracks. They're for like weird tracks. The Carnage
definitely not for short tracks.
Yeah,
they're for carnage runs. That's what they
these
exist
guys
for.
are. This is my road race / play super speedway. Yeah, these are my super speedway boys. I don't play them here.
I would play a little bit of Yaley. McLeod's actually slow. Ty Dillon is just I don't see any way he would be in play.
Why wouldn't I just play Harrison Barton? It just doesn't make sense to me. So let me show you what I think cash games probably should look like.
Survivor. If you're in that Survivor pool, how you getting through?
Yeah, how am I getting through
top
Survivor?
65%. So it's like ultra cash game. We got to eat that Truex chalk first and foremost.
Yeah, you're going to eat this chalk up here, right? 31st starting Truex. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a decision point between Willie and Kyle, but I do think I am popping Bell into this lineup in cash and whatever.
Byron higher floor, Larson higher upside.
I like Larson. He could crash in the wall and fuck me, but I think he's going to lead.
Byron's going to finish third. He's not going to. He could dominate the race, but chances are he's probably not. As where Larson has a much higher chance to like lead 200 laps. If you don't have him, you're fucked.
Just to be clear, this is the decision point in cash games. And you mentioned that you have multiple lineups. I don't want to give out a cash lineup on any kind of stream, especially on DraftKings. They don't appreciate that. So instead, I'm going to just talk about this sort of decision point, right? Point number one, Larson or Byron, either one super viable. If you want to get a little sizzly, Chastain is hanging out over here at 9,600 for some savings. Now there's a version.
It's just floor with Byron and ceiling with Larson.
I'm going to play Larson at the ride the wall track. That's just how we're going to do it.
It's also like 5-1 and Byron's like 15-1.
It's for me, it's Larson, right? Now I can go Chastain. Oh no, actually can't afford it. So this even no matter what you do, actually I'm seeing here, you cannot do 3 super studs. You'd have to go down to.
This is why Bubba Wallace is going to be popular.
Yeah. See, I think
or Bowman.
You could get Wallace in there with one more punt. So that would be a Haley Wallace combo.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or you could go down to Bowman here. You get Bowman in there.
Or
and you got Killer Priest.
Yep.
So better combo. And I'm going to let the people decide. Better combo, Haley. Wait, where's Haley?
Those are ties, but like for cash, that's probably the way people are going. Something
I think
like
this is kind of how you would approach cash.
Maybe they drop Bell and just pick up Byron and then just punt it out.
I don't know if you could do it.
It's a safe way to do it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So
you can grab Stenhouse or something.
Ooh. Oh, that gets rid of Bell.
There's no Dominator.
No Dominator. I don't know. That feels a little dangerous. And you get to Bowman. So this is an interesting mid-lane approach.
Does Larson just dominate the whole race from 18th? And then that's optimal.
Well, he's not getting to the front in 5 seconds.
I hope that's not optimal.
Bell will get you 30, 40 laps before he reaches him.
Could be 50, 60, 70.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like,
if anyone is going to instantaneously reach him, it would be Larson.
there's no way to do this with 4 super studs, right? You can get these 2 crazy punts in there, and you see if you got these 3 10Kers, then you're down to 76. You can't get a 4th.
This is where I have 2
Newman,
dominators that make this happen. Their names are Keselowski and Blaney. That's another way to think about it.
The cheaper guys. So yeah, but the cheaper guys. So, but again, this one, even instead of Bowman, you could get to Ricky Stenhouse in this approach, and it's fine. So who's my turd in here? I got these 3 studs. I've got my 2 super punts. I've got stud number 4. I really like this, but you don't have an early dominator in this type of lineup. Do we need an early dominator in a cash lineup? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe.
It's interesting because even if you go Bell, there is, of course, the risk where if anything happens to Bell, especially early on, you might just be fucked off the rip. But if Bell, I mean, it really depends on ownership. I imagine Bell probably pulls. What do you think he's going to be owned in cash? Like
he's going to be high.
40%.
I think it's 35. I think he's going to be owned in cash. I don't think that people in NASCAR cash auto fade like a guy on the pole. I think they play them. But this is a carnagey race. So basically, when you play the pole sitter in a cash lineup, you are asking for a minus 24 when they crash. If they crash.
Minus 30. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping he gets some lead laps first in the
game. A little bit in there.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a big minus in your lineups. No.
See, when I have Darren Waller go out there and tear his ACL immediately, he gets me 0. I don't have to worry about the minus 30 crap.
I would not fuck around with these kind of rules, Steve, on the Dom station. Let the Dom station do its thing for the most part. Like, especially when you start messing around with like 5 lineups here. This is not a good way to use that.
Well, I'm gonna interject here. I think doing the occasional RFK stack has been hyper effective this year. I would do maybe a few of those.
But I wouldn't.
If there's no correlation between the guys like Haley and Burton, like the DS is going to give you that.
Yeah,
shit anyway.
That's just going to happen. But I want Haley and Bowman. I want Burton and Bowman. I want Haley and Stenhouse. I don't have like a preference for how these guys will be.
The less rules, the better, typically.
Yeah.
And if you're doing a rule, it's either going to be a shitter rule.
I would say no to this one, Andrew B. Yeah. I don't think that Bell. I think if Bell gets a pit penalty, he will be fucked in terms of being a dominator. Doesn't mean he can't finish, in the top 10 or top 5 because he's good at this track, but he's going to be fucked as a dominator on this track. No pit penalty. He could recover though, but or let's put it this way: if he's led a bunch of laps, then he gets that penalties in the back and he makes his way back towards the front. Yeah, it could still work out. Practice time's very important here.
It's a long run speed and noting the drop off between laps is the most important part. You want to see who maintained their speed the longest, and
the other important
thing, tell you it's just Larson, Byron, Blaney. It's pretty much what we saw.
I see this going down. So the way I see this one going down, Taco, Burton, Haley, Killapriest, Stenhouse, and then it just builds itself. Just mixing and matching these other guys, and you know what's funny? The what will actually win will probably be some, like I said, some carnage will happen, and then it's going to be like Bush and Blaney. Like, it's going to get weird. It could get super weird from here.
It's a tough track, so I mean, you're going to have you're going to have like some indirect carnage, just people getting a tire down on a Darlington stripe that's doesn't even throw out a caution, but it fucks you up in that way.
Wu-Tang fan. He knows what's up. So yeah, a lot of different ways to build here, guys. So my final point here is, I think there's a very obvious way that a clean race will play out. And then there's the carnage factor. Build, you got to kind of build lineups with both things in mind. But how do you differentiate that? Like, are some people just like carnage minds? Like, they're like, fuck it, I'm going to build the carnage approach and that's it. and other people are just like, hey, these are really good plays. I'm going to play that, and let's see what happens. How do you think you differentiate that part of it, or do you just do a carnage run?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of the carnage run. Now, like last week, I'm doing all carnage lineups because like it's Daytona.
Daytona, I do that
flipping,
too.
And we got exactly that. So great race. Track like this, Daytona's a fickle monster. It's just one of the toughest tracks on the circuit, if not the toughest track. So kind of similar to Dover in that case, like people are gonna get fucked up. It's not going to be like a Martinsville where it's going to be 100% green flag races like we've seen at the road courses recently, especially without the stage cautions. We got those stage cautions here. Like, shit's going to get mixed up a little bit. We're not at the desperate part of the playoffs yet, so I'm not too worried about the playoff stuff. Yeah, it may become an elimination race. Things might get a little dicey, but
I like it. All right, guys. I think we've done enough breaking down of this particular race. Remember, if you enjoy this content, hit the like button, not just on this video, but make sure you're subscribed to this channel. I see some new names and faces in there. You got to be subscribed to the channel. We've got nonstop content. You're going to love what we do for NFL. You really will. You're going to love it. It's really good. We do a lot of stuff on the channel here. So hit the like, subscribe, notify, whatever it is that you need to do to be told. As far as this race goes, I think this is a great way to close out the non-football season for me with one more track, try to get one more down. I love a lot of the breakdowns here.
Yesterday.
Yeah. It was like, first place yesterday.
There you go.
Happened. But that's Xfinity. So, this should be a fun one. Truex, load up. We know we've got our instructions here. I want to play some cash though, Taco. So I think your cash approach is it's almost, for me, it looks like Bell or non-Bell. I think you could do a Bell version and a non-Bell version, and the rest builds itself. Taco, I think I already know your two Survivor lineups, two of them at least. I'm going to give you a suggestion for that contest, though, Taco.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who has made it through Survivors in MMA and here a few times, don't make too many lineups. Don't make 10 different ones.
No, hell no. I'm doing probably 4-2-2-1-1, something like that.
Your best one, make the most of them that.
I ain't going out week one, but
Yeah, you don't have to do 10
do
different
do a little hedging where it's appropriate.
What's the dollar entry on that Survivor?
It's 28, and it's like 10 weeks.
Where is that shit?
You start getting paid after week 3.
There's no way I can. I would just have to play Dom Station Optimals after week 1. I don't think I want to do it. I cannot focus on that. I'm doing one. Fuck it. I'm doing it. Is there any spots left? Is it gone?
It should still be there.
Oh, here it is. I'm gonna do it. Fuck it. But you need to remind me to put my lineup in. I will totally forget.
Oh, hell, don't put that on me, bro.
No, it's gonna be your job.
I'm saying thank you for the extra empty spot.
Is that what it is? You're just hoping I'm gonna leave it blank. I don't care. I'm doing it. I'm in for one.
Let's go. Let's see how far we go.
All right. So let's wrap it up there, guys. Good luck in the race tonight. Like, subscribe, notify. We'll see you here next time. We'll see you at the top of the leaderboards.
Helmets up.